I gotta ask just a couple questions. You can make me feel less about this whole topic.
Yeah.
Okay, is it normal for independent journalists to accept money to do what essentially is like pro one party content? So, for example, let's say even if you are Republican in your nature, and well, not nature, but like in the values that you espouse, is it normal to accept money from political parties or independent groups in favor of said party?
Probably, yeah. Like if you get hired by any media company, like if you're working for the Daily Wire or if you're working for, like the people in Progressive Victory are all going to be like progressive talking points. Like, yeah, that's probably pretty normal. You get paid by like the Stephen Crowder people, the Young Turks, Breaking Points. Like, yeah, I would say it's probably pretty normal, yeah.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood, but isn't the whole point of independent journalism that you are free from any kind of corporate interest or government influence?
Wow, wouldn't that be great? That's not true, and it's never been true. I agree with you. That would be the
but that's
point.
the definition of that's the one that they espouse. Like when they talk about we're 100% funded by you guys as super chatters, or we're 100% funded, through our own labor, not through corporate interests or like direct advertisements. I'm almost confident it's supposed to be that.
If that's how they advertise themselves, then yeah. But the reality is, if you have any kind of sponsorship whatsoever, you probably have to keep that in mind to some extent, right?
Okay, yes, and let's say I agree that if you take some ad for Manscaped or something like that, it's probably not as corporately involved as, let's say, taking an ad from some political focus group that like runs super PACs for Trump. I feel like those two things are very distinctly different. No.
Like I agree that they're distinctly different, but there can be overlap in surprising ways. So like the statements that I made about like Trump. The Trump people getting shot at Trump rallies or whatever. Like people were reaching out to people that didn't even sponsor anymore, to old sponsors, trying to get me like canceled from those sponsors and shit. And if I still would have been carrying like Surfshark or whatever, they probably would have dropped me. So even companies that aren't political can be influenced if you stir up enough shit. So
right.
Now, is that the same as I'm like dictating a media diet to you? Maybe not, but like would it keep you from saying something that you feel strongly about that's very on the fringes? Maybe, yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, I've seen claims that these guys didn't know what they were doing it. Now, if you were to steelman their position, how would you do it?
I might be able to buy that for Lauren Southern, Taylor Hansen, and Matt Christensen, only because I haven't seen in particular what they're getting paid, and maybe for Benny Johnson. But for Dave Rubin and Tim Pool, that was an ungodly amount of money.
Wait, how much were the Lauren Southerns getting paid?
I don't. None of that information was published in the indictment. But what we do know is, I think it was a little over $10 million was paid out in a year, and like 8.7 million of that went to those three commentators: Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, and Benny Johnson. So it would have been a little over $1 million, or around $1 million for the other three. So I don't know how much they were all paid.
I mean, all of those people are like infinitely smaller YouTubers, so I think in proportion to what they normally make, this is still an exponential amount of money.
That is possible, but like when you look at the channel, I'm pretty sure Lauren and the Matt guy, I think those were the two people that were bringing in most of the views. Dave Rubin, bro, we were looking through this channel. Dave Rubin's videos are getting like 700 views a video, 3,000 views. Yeah, it's like embarrassing. 2.9 thousand views, 513 views, 1.4K views. Yeah.
Okay, but I think I remember reading one of the texts from the transcripts, and I think at one point, I think they were asked to do the whole Tucker Carlson grocery store thing, and then one of the producers for one of the commentary channels was like, I feel like this is very shilly. And then one of the Russian handlers was like, still, we were needed, and then the producer kind of acquiesced. Mm-hmm. Do we know what video that is that Tim Pool or Dave Rubin ended up covering the Tucker Carlson thing?
So that was the Tucker Carlson thing. I don't know if any of the 6 commentators covered that video. I think that was just posted to the Tenet Media social media account, I believe.
Okay. And when you hear Tim Pool say he doesn't know, is it just because of the money that you feel like he should have known better?
Absolutely. What an insane thing to be getting so much money and not question. You're getting paid $400,000 a month You're getting paid
When I
about.
saw 100K per video, I literally jumped out of my seat. That was like Mr. Beast levels of income for sponsorship.
Yeah, and not even just for a video. It was for a video with no call to action, with no product being promoted, without any specific content direction. Like how? That's for what, a 12-minute video? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. He's not charging those rates. He's not charging 20% of those rates to anybody in the industry for a video like that. Nobody's paying for a video like that. That's insane. Yeah.
No.
By the way, I've noticed Tim Pool has become more hostile to Ukraine over the past year. Like, it sounds to me that if he's getting paid that kind of money and they're not handing him some sort of script with some sort of buzzwords to say or specific topic to cover, like, it sounds to me that he was being fed lines that he needed to say, like, especially for that kind of money they're giving him.
It's possible, but if that's true, I don't think that's true, because he directly said that wasn't true in his tweet. And if he directly contradicts that, and he knows how sprawling this investigation is now, and there's evidence to the contrary, oof, that looks really bad.
Well, Tim Pool's an idiot, so it is something you do.
Maybe, sure, but that would be really dumb. Yeah.
Just to come back to the money, it is so ungodly to think about how much that is, because I can tell, like, just for the viewer so they can understand. Imagine a viewer averaging about 1 million views per video. If they're doing advertisement and they're just doing some run-of-the-mill advertisement where their channel's not necessarily connected to the product itself, but think of Surfshark, think of Manscaped, they'll advertise on anything, irrespective of whether it's geared towards men or tech bros. You're looking at anywhere from 8,000 USD to maybe 12,000 if you're lucky. Now, some channels are a little bit more highly specified, so think of Marquise Brownlee. Now, he's averaging 1 million views per video, and he's doing tech-related stuff, and he gets a tech sponsorship. You could see him going up to 30,000, maybe 45,000 for some of his sponsors if he was to take one. Why? Because it's like a target audience or finance.
And these are for million-plus views videos, not for
right.
1K or 3K views on a video.
Right.
And these
so
are for a call to action for a specific product.
Is insane for videos that are not performing well. This is outperforming the market by like 10x, 100x in terms of like the actual viewership. Mm-hmm. And the fact that the money kept coming in, I know for me, if I was offered this kind of money, I would be asking why they're paying me so much more, like 20 times more than anyone's ever paid me. So I'd be asking questions like, where is this money coming from? Is it legal? But I think as a political commentary channel who's being asked to do politically inclined content on behalf of like one party or one group, I think you have to be extra suspicious.
1,000,000,000%. Like if this was a deal from Rumble, I'd be a little bit more like, okay, maybe you're, they got, I think they're publicly traded. You got a lot of investors. Sure, maybe for Rumble, I'd be like, okay, but Tenet Media, literally, you're like you're the face of this channel, right? There are 6 content creators brought on, and I think the most well known were like you, Dave, and Benny and Lauren. Like but you are inarguably you're the largest face on this channel. I thought it was initially a Tim Pool funded media channel. That's what I thought initially when it was first announced, because he's obviously the largest face, that's being used to promote this. And for him to not even question where that money is coming from is negligent at best.
I just don't believe I don't believe he didn't question it because his producer was questioning it. Well, not questioning it, but questioning like the kind of content. Like, even the producer was being fed sometimes like, this feels very shilly. There's no way as a producer you don't get told these kinds of things and you don't discuss it with the person you're working for. That's just not a thing that happens. Yeah. If I was telling someone to work with a company and they're saying this, they're coming back to me. Any advertisement deal, any kind of production deal, I'm not just a mouthpiece, right? And Tim Pool takes pride in the fact that he does a lot of their own research, or he looks and he reads over this stuff.
Investigative journalist.
There's no way these conversations didn't happen behind the channels. That's not you're talking about the highest level of like, I closed my eyes when a bag of money was offered to me. That just doesn't seem plausible.
We know Tim Pool's a massive grifter. So yeah, in all likelihood, he probably knew something fishy was going on, but didn't really care because the money was so good, went with it, figured if anything happens, he can just, act dumb.
Maybe, actually, yeah. I mean, it might be enough for them to never actually question it. They know it's probably corrupt, but like, why question it and ruin your fucking money bag, right?
You don't think they questioned it at all?
No, I'm saying.
Oh no, they did.
Like, no. Like, in terms of when I say not question, I mean they're like, yeah, maybe it is coming from bad sources, but who the cares? I'm getting paid bank, and then that's it. You just don't ever say anything else about it, right?
Well, okay, actually, I'm curious. Would you not be worried? Like, I know I would be if I was doing political commentary and some entity that's not entirely clear is offering me hundreds of thousands. I would be like, is this illegal? That would be something that would cost.
Well,
Bro, I
you
worried
have
about my
moral
kick contract for that.
standards.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, man. This seems like a lot of money. I'm not sure sometimes. I kind of wonder. Yeah, I was worried about if I was approached by like if Progressive Victory was coming to me like, hey, Dustin, we want you to approach this. We're gonna pay you $100,000 a month instead of that's like, yeah, it should set off so many alarm bells in your head, especially when it's a political company. Yeah, it's a political company headed by a political person that no offense, is not that wealthy. Okay, Lauren Chen is not that successful. The Blaze doesn't pay that well. Okay, but you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and drop $500,000 on you every month. It's absurd. It's so stupid. Like
Well,
in the best case scenario, all of your credibility is gone in terms of being able to critically analyze anything. Why would I trust this guy to be able to find any type of conspiracy ever if it was literally you were part of it? You were like, it would be less embarrassing for him to say that he was compromised and he knew it, rather than for him to be like, oh, I had no idea. I was a useful dipshit the entire time. Like, how could you be so stupid?
And I think we have to stop attributing everything to incompetence or to all this like, it's just like, what do you call it? Weaponized incompetence? Who's I feel like you're the one who talked.
Yes.
Was that you?
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Okay.
And I shut up. Peace Call after this.
Like.
Yeah.
People are weaponizing incompetence once again. I'm sorry. This is some of the highest levels of retardation for people who consider themselves very politically active and in the know, and also conspiracy brained. Like they will pick apart everything to fit their narrative, but then a bag of money is offered to them and they didn't question nothing.
It's insane.
I'm sorry. You're selling me a bridge.
And I'm pointing this out. I want people to know this. From in 1 year, this company paid out, to 3 content creators in 1 year, to Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, and Benny Johnson, about as much money as Hunter Biden made working for Burisma for 5 years. Okay, in 1 year, they got this much money. Like, how can you talk about any conspiracy ever? This is the most obvious universe. And yeah, you're right. Conservatives do this thing where they'll sit in a room, they'll watch a girl and a guy go into the other room, and they'll hear her screaming for 30 minutes and then come back out like bloodied and bruised, and you'll be like, bro, did that guy just beat the shit out of her? And the conservatives will look you in the eye, dead in the eye, into the ovals of your soul. They will look into you and they will say, I didn't actually see it happen. Did you? How can you improve that? Like, why would you assume that? Do you even know? Like, they're the most shameless bad faith people need. They're shameless.
And they always go through the trouble of like connecting the dots.
Oh, yeah.
Hillary was here at this time of day, and at the same time, Epstein's plane was here. So I'm not saying, but we could infer, right? They constantly make these inferences that people are always operating under this. But all of a sudden, when they're literally offered hundreds of thousands of dollars that are unreasonable for what they're doing, they want you to say, well, do you have any proof? Do you have like direct proof that he said he took?
Well, yeah.
I don't know. To me, just beyond the double standard,
ideologues.
they can look at everything as critically as they want through their biased lens. But the moment it's their own like actions under the microscope, all of a sudden they're retards.
Yeah,
it's just too much.
And it's so easy. Just like imagine it on the other end. Like imagine if I'm involved. Imagine we find out that Progressive Victory was paying me $50,000. I'm sorry, we'll say $500,000. I guess that's what this is worth. $500,000 a month. And then you found out that Progressive Victory was actually funded by Israel or by some Jewish org. Mike, it would be over for me, bro. Like that would be like you're getting paid that much money and it was funded by Israel and you had all these talking points. Like what? Like it would be over. It'd be over. Yeah.
And I'd be making a video about it the next day if I found out Destiny was taking money from an organization that was funded by AIPAC and he was being paid per video some absurd amount. 1,000%. I'm like, Destiny's definitely shilling, without question. Because how aggressively he talks about this stuff and how he's been. If I found out you were any way being paid, I would 100% publicly say you are definitely shilling.
As an investigative journalist,
these guys can turn around and try to use that to shield. No.
Yeah, they're clearly lying. Like again, it's in the transcript. Like their producer was talking about how this is a little too shilly and it's making me feel uncomfortable. Like. I mean, I've noticed this too. Like, you can see Tim Pool's stance on Russia-Ukraine change a little bit, and it's gotten more towards literally claiming Ukraine is an enemy of the United States versus what he was saying before that, well, Russia isn't that bad, and since they're not that bad, we shouldn't get involved. Like, clearly he's being fed lines. Clearly.
And I liked his tweet where he's like, this show is just the culture wars, and we deal with very unpolitical subjects like spirituality in video games. And I'm like, bro, kill yourself. Oh my God. Yeah. But
yeah, the guy who complains about fucking Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
You know, I got offered a sponsorship deal by this, I think it was like a credit card company, or no, it's like a debit card thing that also helps your credit. Okay, and they were offering like a crazy amount. I just did my Google searches on them, and like I'd see the other YouTubers that sponsored them, and I was just like looking into this stuff, and just something about it just seemed off. They kind of popped out of nowhere. They're kind of new, and sure enough, within a year, they ended up being defunct because what they were doing was essentially illegal. But it was one of those things where the money was really good for a company that didn't have much of a reputation. The sensible thing is just like, where's this coming from? Is this legitimate? You look into it. Now, if I was doing sponsored content where the entirety of the video had to be about a specific topic, that means that they're sending in a script with overlaying ideas. My producer has to overlook that and then bring it to me, and then we have to have a production meeting. And then you guys have to have a discussion about the fact that you're getting paid $100,000 for this shitbag video. The last 5 you did for this company didn't perform that well, or didn't even get a return on investment at all. It's just hard for me to imagine you're sitting there in that production company.
You know what I'm curious? I wonder if anybody else in his company knew how much money he was getting paid for that. Like, do you think they paid their fucking? Do you think their guests knew? Wait,
they know. They know. There's plenty of them who know.
Not the guest, because I think I was a guest on this stupid fucking Culture Wars. That was the show that I went on, wasn't it? Was it the Culture Wars one?
Not the guest. No.
It was. This was the one that I went on. He got paid $100,000. I made $100,000 for Tim Pool in this fucking episode. Fuck me. This is such bullshit. Yeah, and there's no. Yeah, I wonder. No. I'm sorry. When I said the other people, I meant the other people in his company. Because do you think they would have wanted a slice of that? I wonder if he just like pocketed a lot of that money on his own.
No. They know the amounts that are being paid. The reason why I know they know is because when they're going through these contracts, it's going through associations. Tim Pool has assistants. The assistants see the contracts. The assistants see the invoices. They're forwarding it. Tim Pool's not getting everything directly and handling all the back end. You just don't at that level when you're having.
I bet he does. Unless he's a total dipshit, I bet he manages a lot of it.
Well, didn't you have a producer that was the middleman talking to these people?
No. The producers in the indictment, I believe, were producers who were brought on by the two founders, Lauren Chen and her husband. I don't think they were hired by Tim's people. They were other people that were brought on to work for Tenet. But they're not like, I don't think these are Russians. They're quote unquote victims of the scam. But yeah, I don't think those were Tim's people. Yeah. I want to hear statements by Tim's coworkers like that, the crazy dudes. I want to know if any of them knew how much money his company was bringing in from this Tenet deal. I'm so curious about that.
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.